What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Josh here from Polymathics, the YouTube channel that helps you become a modern-day Renaissance man. And in this video, really quick, we are going to do a word of the day. This is a series where I teach you guys we go over some words that maybe aren't generally used in conversation, but could help increase your vocabulary. And today's word is actually very interesting. I just learned it. This isn't a word that I've known for a long time or anything. But it's actually, I think it's very important for people who are into business or writing per se. So the word is, as you probably saw on the thumbnail that you clicked, inimitable. Okay, inimitable. And let me go to a screen share here, and we'll kind of take a look at this word for a second. Here's the infinity screen. Okay, as you can see, I searched for what it means. This actually came up in a college course that I was taking for business and entrepreneurship. But the definition here is the same as what it is in my book, or it's close enough. It's pronounced inimitable. Okay, it has the similar root word as imitate, but it means pretty much the opposite. So I'm going to read off this. It says, so good or unusual as to be impossible to copy. Unique. All right. And then you can see some synonyms here. Incomparable, unparalleled, unrivaled, peerless, matchless, unequaled, blah, 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 blah. Now, why is that important? I'm going to stop sharing now and go back to my camera. Here I am. Why is that important? In the business world, if you have something that's inimitable, then that means it will be very difficult for your competition to recreate it, or more than likely impossible. And as you guys know, on this channel, I speak a lot about not just business, but also writing and all kinds of different things. Whatever it is that you do in your world, whether it's science, math, writing, art, I don't know. Whatever it is that the goals that you're trying to achieve, you want to brand yourself or your company as someone that's inimitable, meaning that you don't just do easy things that anybody could do. You don't just rehash old things, but you create something that's unique and new for the market or for your audience. You know, it depends how you look at this. I'm not quite sure what everybody does. So I will give you an example, though, of stuff that we do for Story Ninjas and whatnot. But generally speaking, the way that you do this is you take 2 or 3 ideas that already work, that are already like semi-known and popular, and you combine them. One of the best examples of this is the iPhone. The iPhone is a compilation or a mishmash of several different ideas that were always there in the past, like, you know, TV, telephone, radio, messaging, all those things, but they're all combined into one. And for a while there, the iPhone was unmatched and unparalleled in its competition. Nowadays, things are kind of catching up, but it was truly, and I would even say now, still the industry leader for that that space, that market. And wherever market you're in or whatever audience you're gearing your career towards, even if you work in a corporate world, you want to always be looking for things that you can make inimitable, because in some ways that's job security. If you're in the corporate world, that's job. One of the main things. Sorry, I have to sneeze. It's like right. Oh, here it comes. Oh my gosh. Oh, pardon me. I think that's the first time I've ever sneezed on camera. Anyways, in the corporate world, where job security is a big deal, if you make yourself indispensable, then it's very hard for you to get fired. But some people go about this the wrong way. They won't share their ideas, or they won't teach other people how to do certain things. I don't think that's the way to go. I think the best way to go is to prove time and time again that you can create these inimitable ideas or systems or procedures, because that is something that truly you can't teach someone, because it's more of a thought process in a way of doing things where you take a couple ideas that are already out in the market or in the world, and you combine them into a new configuration that makes things work more optimally. And I'll give you another example in writing, because this is the world that I live in, commercial fiction writing. Many people have had success by taking old stories and putting a modern spin on them. So, for example, a few years ago, I think in the late 90s, so maybe, or more than a few years ago, it's like a decade ago, someone came out, and I don't remember the name of it, or I would have, posted it on here, but someone came out with like new fairy tales with a modern spin. So instead of it being the three little pigs and the wolf, it was like the wolf was the good guy and the three little pigs were picking on him and stuff. And it was just different enough, and it had this funny aspect to it. It gave it newness, but it was inimitable because it was essentially intellectual property at that point. And that's one of the key reasons why I prefer books, is because when you create an intellectual property, sure, can it be illegally downloaded and all this stuff? Sure. But in terms of people being able to quickly replicate that and put it under their own name, no, it's nearly impossible. For example, if we look at J.K. Rowling or Stephen King, if someone took one of their books and just copy pasted it and put a different name on it, they would be sued for copyright infringement. You cannot just take a story and copy paste it. Interestingly enough, though, if you look at most stories, and particularly if you're coming from the lens of the monomyth, which is something, if you're familiar with, that I teach on this channel, many stories still come off the same template. So you can take this approach to storytelling that has been around for millennia, ever since the beginning of mankind, and you can apply it to just about any genre, but any story you want, you can combine it with new types of combinations to come up with something inimitable. And that's what we try to do at Story Ninjas, is we try to take things where, so for example, I'll give you guys an example. This one's on me, totally free, and it won't even cost you anything. If you wanted to, you could take, say, the story of Odysseus. You could either take the beginning part, which is the Iliad, or you take the second part, the Odyssey. And you could essentially take the names of those characters, switch them around, and do like the Iliad in space or the Odyssey in space, and futurize it and make it like, instead of they're riding horses, they're riding spaceships. You would still have to do a considerable amount of work to make it, to have it understandable. But this is just a very general concept of taking a couple ideas, combining them, and then creating something that's inimitable. Because then once you do that, that's your story, and as long as you publish it and have it copyrighted, nobody can touch it. Now that's one way, but there are so many. As I said before, you got the iPhone in terms of technology. Spanx. I know this is weird, but it also came up in my college business class. I did not know this. They were essentially like stockings that women wear, and the creator, she basically just cut the legs off like around the knee or the thigh, so that they weren't showing below, the skirt or whatever. And it became a huge hit. And it was just like one really simple change to something that had been around for forever. But because of this, like, that lady made millions and millions of dollars. And the point is, whenever you're building your brand or creating products, that's what you want to think of. Like, how can I make something that nobody's made before by pulling off of ideas that others have used? Like for example, some people go the wrong route and they try to make something that nobody uses or nobody has used before. The genius about the iPhone is like all of those aspects that we talked about: TV, phone, radio, computers, messaging. Those were all things that people already did in the real world. So they knew that there was a market for them. Combining them is what really gave it this like edge that nobody else had. And so just think about it. You know, in the world that you live in whatever field that you work in, or whatever is your passion, the thing that you do, what can you take that the market is already using and combine it in order to make something that's inimitable? And just, I'll end on this to give you like sort of the opposite. Anybody who's ever watched or followed Robert Kiyosaki, you would know that he made his first few millions off of a wallet. He made like a wallet that had Velcro on it. I think he claims that it's like the first wallet that ever had Velcro on it. I don't know. Don't take my word. Maybe I'm not. But the point is, he made a wallet, and he made millions of dollars off of this wallet, and he was very happy with the success. The problem is, it was so easy to imitate that within I guess a year or so, or a couple years after he made the wallet, other people from foreign countries and stuff were creating the same wallet and selling it for cheaper, which basically like destroyed his business model because it was able to be imitated very simply and very easily. And so my advice to you, I know this was the word of the day and this is going much longer than usual, but my advice would be to take this concept of making something that can't be imitated and try to apply it to your career or your vocation in either the way that you present yourself or the way that you come up with processes and ideas. It will totally change your innovation and the way people view you in terms of innovation, because they'll be like, they won't, and it's crazy, people won't understand how you created it, but really all you did was you saw connections between seemingly unrelated items. And that's, anybody who's watched my videos, you know that's like one of my key things about being a polymath, is that you find connections that other people don't. And that's where true innovation really, really takes a foothold. So hope this has been helpful. And, you know, go ahead and if you can think of something, well, don't share your ideas if you think you're going to like make money off it or something. But if you have some ideas or something came to your mind, like go ahead and drop it in the link below and maybe we can have a conversation about it. All right, guys, this has been Josh Coker from Polymathics, the YouTube channel that helps you become a modern day Renaissance man. And I am signing off.